Tonight on KGW News, the cougar sighting that has police warning people to bring pets inside. Plus,
We really thought that this was going to tear the plane apart.
we hear from passengers on board the beyond bumpy flight that sent dozens to the hospital. And Portland bows to federal pressure, changing its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Then later, step into the local arcade, just named the best in the country.
We once spent 5 hours here without even knowing we spent 5 hours here.
Thanks for joining us here at 11. I'm Christine Pitawanich. We begin tonight with an order from Portland's mayor directing the city to change its diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, policies. It comes after months of pressure from the Trump administration. Alma McCarty joins us now live in the newsroom. Alma, give us a breakdown of the mayor's order.
Christine, I'm told that this doesn't mean the elimination of DEI altogether, rather the city making changes where necessary to comply with the Trump administration's orders.
Now in effect, this executive order from Mayor Keith Wilson, ensuring city programs and policies do not violate federal anti-discrimination law. In other words, they cannot give preference to groups with protected class status based on characteristics such as race or gender. According to the city's legal team, Portland needs to adjust 75 programs and policies. It comes as a response to President Trump's executive order, signed a day after he was sworn into office, going after diversity, equity, and inclusion policies across the nation. The mayor said in a statement that this decision, while challenging, is in the best interest of Portlanders, citing millions of dollars in grants from the federal government on the line. City officials are managing nearly $350 million in active federal grants and $31 million in new federal agreements the mayor stressed must be signed in the coming weeks. City Council President Ilana Pertolgini and Councilor Samir Kanal responded to the decision. Pertolgini writing in part, "I want to ensure our community partners continue to receive funding for critical programs, while also continuing to make policies guided by our community's values. The mayor's order allows us to do both." Kanal said he's furious with the Trump administration's threats to federal grants, calling it unacceptable that the federal government has attacked the work we've done to remedy past harms in systemic inequities in order to demolish any progress toward racial and gender equity.
City officials say that over the next few weeks, staff will develop action plans for impacted programs and policies with support from the Office of Equity and Human Rights and with council. Christine, back to you.
Difficult decisions. Alma McCarty reporting for us. Thank you, Alma. To Vancouver, where tonight an investigation is underway into a deadly police shooting. Investigators say a Clark County deputy shot and killed a man who broke into his parents' home and threatened to kill them. It happened just before 11 o'clock last night near East 27th and H Street. The parents called 911 and told first responders their son had been drinking, was high on meth, and armed, investigators say. Authorities spotted him nearby, still armed. 10 minutes after the initial emergency call, a Clark County deputy shot him. We spoke with people who say their neighborhood is usually a quiet place.
But it doesn't feel like much happens out here in downtown Vancouver, at least on this scale.
He was saying, "Oh, you did this to me. Why did you do this to me?"
There was police activity. The lady that was across the street, she was standing in the yard talking to the police officers. We could tell she was really upset.
The deputy involved has been placed on leave, which is protocol in these situations. Let's get you caught up now on tonight's other headlines. Police are trying to get to the bottom of a disturbing discovery. Someone found human remains in an abandoned storage locker in the Dalles. It was first reported Tuesday morning by the person who bought the locker. After searching the U-Haul facility on West 6th Street, law enforcement confirmed the remains were human. The state medical examiner will release the person's identity after an autopsy. A grand jury has indicted a Gresham police officer on more than 50 charges related to sexual conduct with an underage girl. Police arrested Hector Carranza this afternoon. He faces charges including rape, sex abuse, and using a child in display of sexually explicit conduct, among others. Carranza has been with Gresham Police since 2014 and is now on leave. Oregon State Police and the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office are investigating. Meanwhile, Portland police have arrested the suspect who they say shot and killed 47-year-old Olance Upton back in 2021. Police announced that arrest today. Isaac Hardin Sr. is facing a second-degree murder charge, among others. Upton's body was found near Southeast Clatsop Street and 147th Avenue. Also, a cougar has been spotted near homes in Corvallis. Someone took this picture this afternoon after it had killed a deer and buried it under a porch near Northwest John Place and Sunview Drive. Police say the cougar might stick around for its prey and are warning people to keep small pets and children indoors. If you see the cougar, call the Corvallis Police Department. Okay, time now to take a quick look outside on this Thursday night, or if you'd rather call it Friday Eve. Another beautiful day. Got another warm one tomorrow as well. For a look at what we're expecting, let's get to Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino with your weather impact forecast. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Christine. Yeah, on this Thursday night, it's pretty nice out there. We had a great sunset, too, which I'll show you later. But right now, still following thunderstorms over in eastern Oregon. There's been some good ones here and some fairly heavy rain. We had a flash flood warning southeast of Baker City till 8:15. That has been allowed to expire, but we're still getting several hundred lightning strikes over near Ukiah, Long Creek, and down towards John Day. So yeah, we're seeing some really intense activity over that way. So right now, the flash flood watch has been allowed to expire, which is great news, along with the fire weather warning. So no active watches, warnings, or advisories in the state of Oregon for the first time, and it feels like a couple days, right? But this is happening. This is the ODOT camera down to Roseburg. And there's a fire that closed down I-5, some of the lanes of I-5. You're looking northbound. I believe that's on the west side of the highway there. So again, that happened this evening too. I don't know what caused that fire, but ODOT reporting that. Meanwhile, you see the clouds building over the Cascades and some really good formations too. These are called mammatus clouds here. They happen when you get a mature shower or a thunderstorm. There they go right there. See those little kind of globules hanging down. Interesting cloud formations up in the Cascades. So what's ahead? Thunderstorms ending tonight. Mainly sunny tomorrow. August will begin with sunny and warm weather, but not hot, Christine. And we'll take a look back at July as well. Back to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt.
Sure.
Ahead of tomorrow's trade deal deadline, President Trump announced new deals as well as a new extension for one country. And once again, he's demanding a lower interest rate from the Fed chair. NBC's Garrett Hake has details from Washington.
President Trump touting deals made just hours before his trade deadline expires and higher tariffs kick in for most countries.
We have made a few deals today that are excellent deals for the country. You know, we're taking in literally trillions of dollars for the country.
Overnight, the president slapping a 15% tariff on South Korean goods, lower than threatened, but the highest in the 15 years a free trade agreement was in place. And after, the president says the country promised to invest billions in the U.S. Democrats scornful of the deal.
Donald Trump says South Korea will face 15% tariffs. And then he pretends like that's some kind of victory. 15% is far from a victory because it is American families who are ones who are going to have to pay for it in the end.
The president also placing high tariffs on goods from India and Brazil, but extending the deadline for Mexico by 90 days, possibly longer, after Trump spoke with Mexican President Sheinbaum. Many countries facing higher tariffs once the deadline expires, and a deal with one huge trading partner remains elusive.
China is their own thing. We have our own team working with China. They're their own thing.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent met with Chinese officials this week in Sweden, characterizing the talks as tough. And while he has not provided details on a possible agreement,
I'm confident that it will be done, but it's not 100% done.
Businesses of all sizes say the on-again, off-again tariffs are hurting their bottom line. And now the president's big tariff plan could be upended by two small businesses in federal appeals court who say the president doesn't have the authority to impose those tariffs without congressional approval. A lower court already sided with the businesses. But whatever today's decision, the case is likely headed to the Supreme Court. And inflation ticked up in June, moving the Fed farther from being able to lower interest rates, something the president has been hammering Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to do. Tomorrow, all eyes will be on another key economic indicator, the jobs report. Garrett Hake, NBC News, Washington.
New tonight, there have been 7 suspected cases of tuberculosis at the ICE processing center in Tacoma. The facility houses people from all over the Northwest who are arrested by immigration agents. The attorney for one of the people with TB says his client had recently been transferred to and from a correctional facility in Alaska where dozens of people were exposed to TB back in June. Human rights advocates say these incidents should raise alarm bells for everyone.
We continue to feel very deeply concerned about the safety of those who are being held in this facility, and very deeply alarmed, to be honest, that this kind of cruelty is happening now on the daily basis and nothing is really being done to stop it.
The Washington State Department of Health confirmed the cases but directed all inquiries to ICE. ICE has not responded to requests for comment. And developing tonight, Mercy Corps, the Portland-based humanitarian aid nonprofit, says it has pallets of aid for Gaza, but is stuck waiting for permission to deliver it. This comes as pressure increases on Israel to end a growing crisis by getting Palestinians in Gaza more food and other supplies. Recent photos of malnourished children and reports of starvation have outraged people around the world. Mercy Corps says it has more than 1,300 pallets of aid sitting in Jordan and Egypt, ready to be sent to Gaza. But the International Humanitarian Organization says for months they have not been allowed through.
So this is not a logistics problem. It's not a coordination problem. This is a political problem because we have unfortunately seen Israel blocking aid and commercial goods to only a tiny trickle getting into Gaza over the last several months.
Crosby says food kits have been sitting so long that some have expired and they've been forced to discard them.